different with immutable is that is basically a write once backup job. It's not incremental. You're not making multiple copies of it. In the event of a cyber attack, a breach, the bad actors are going after your backups. Actually, just last week, we had a customer who came in, needed help, and the only thing that saved them was they had an immutable copy. If you're serious about protecting your business, you need to have multiple backups, and you need to have a backup that's off net, that's immutable, that can't be changed once written.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Incident Report presented by Quest Technology Management. I'm Paul Burke, Director of Technology Communications. Every week, I'm joined by VP of Sales and Partnerships, Adam Burke. The Incident Report brings you conversations with thought leaders, business innovators, and channel mavericks to help you stay productive and agile in a changing technology landscape. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Incident Report. This is episode 48. We are almost at like a halfway centennial point, which I don't know if that means anything, but we're almost there, and I didn't do this alone. I am one half your host. Across from me, Adam Burke, sitting over there. Adam, how you doing?
Good, Paul. I was actually just listening to another podcast, and 95% of podcasts fail to make it to 8 episodes. So I think a half centennial mark would be a great thing. I think we need to have some trumpets, maybe some drums. I don't know, something like when you go to Cisco Partner Summit or one of the OEM rallies where they got the drums and the DJs spinning lights and getting people amped up. We got to get something like that for the next couple of shows in preparation. Yeah.
Done. I don't want to brag, Adam. I have access to sound effects. It's going to happen.
Sweet.
So we're both very amped up on caffeine right now. It is an early recording. We usually do these in the afternoon, a little behind the scenes. We're doing it early in the morning. So we are both fully caffeinated for this production.
Just got done with my cardio session in the morning, Paul. I got about 4 coffees deep, and I was given a cold brew pot, and it's been sitting in my fridge for 4 days. I forgot about it, and I just drank half of it. So we're ready to go.
Let's do it.
I like my coffee to show up on drug tests, so let's get after it.
Veeam is basically released. Adam, I don't know. Is this a good way of saying it? Veeam released immutable storage on steroids.
That's one way of saying it. Yeah, that's one way of saying it. Veeam 12 release. Yeah, absolutely.
Which offers direct backup to object storage. This is from channelfeatures.com. And as always, all the links are in the description. So check it out. It's a good article over at Channel Features. Veeam releases new data platform with direct backup to object storage. What's important about this, Adam? Why do we care?
Well, so Quest has been partnered with Veeam for years. We work with them in 2 avenues. We help people acquire their software and deploy it for their own use. And then we're also what's called a Veeam Cloud Connect partner. So we offer targets in the cloud. And for a while, it's been recommended from Veeam and from us and from other security providers and other Veeam Cloud Connect partners, hey, it's good to have an offsite, basically snapshot backup of your local backup. So you back up your systems locally, but then as a Veeam Cloud Connect partner, Veeam created this ecosystem of partners where you have cloud backups, right? So you can target like our Las Vegas facility, or our Austin facility, or our Sacramento facility, or our Richmond facility. So people all over the United States have their local copies of backups, and then they target their backups from their Veeam console locally, and they push that backup job across the internet, data stream to Quest or another Veeam Cloud Connect partner, and that's your offsite copy. What's different with immutable is that is basically a write once backup job. It's not incremental. You're not making multiple copies of it. That's in the event of a cyber attack, a breach, the bad actors are going after your backups, right? They're going after those systems that host your backups, right? They're all just computers and CPU and disk at the end of the day. And the bad actors are targeting your backup systems. So having an immutable copy, we've seen multiple times. Actually, just last week, we had a customer who came in, needed help, and the only thing that saved them was they had an immutable copy. And we have immutable copies for clients that we provide. And this, with Veeam 12, the capability was first released on Veeam 10, but with this release, they're pushing this very, very hard and almost saying, hey, this is a must-have, not a nice-to-have, not a 3-2-1 kind of concept that they've always kind of been pushing. This is like, you need to have immutable storage.
Putting you on the spot here, Adam. Do you think it's a must-have?
Yes, absolutely. And especially for the cost of the storage to do it, it's it's a no-brainer. There aren't a lot of no-brainers in the IT world. Like there's always kind of cost benefit and analogies like that. But if you're serious about protecting your business, you need to have multiple backups, and you need to have a backup that's off net, that's immutable, that can't be changed once written.
And it looks like they're coming in at 3 different SKUs, offering people 3 different options to use version 12.
Yeah, they're giving options. I mean, there's, I think, what was it? Yeah, Danny Allen at Veeam mentioned, there's over 500 new capabilities within the Veeam platform. So a lot of different things folks can do. There's some new Kubernetes functionality. There's, of course, backup from Office 365 and Microsoft environments that are pretty critical. So really, really cool capabilities. I was excited to see this came out. They actually, they released it on Valentine's Day. So it's a little,
What a lovely love letter.
little Valentine to the channel. Yeah, yeah. A little bummer, can't be all one-sided here. Love Veeam, love the partnership, but they did kind of release, hey, by the way, you need to upgrade from certain versions, because if you don't, they're no longer going to be supported. So that was kind of a bummer. They didn't really give people a ton of lead time on that. We gave them some feedback as far as like, hey guys, you released this new great upgrade, and we love to upgrade software, and upgrading's great. But they basically said, oh, and by the way, if you're 2 versions back, yeah, we're not supporting that anymore. So get moving on your upgrades. So, I mean, it's you got to run from hell and you got to run towards heaven, right? It's kind of a balancing act right there. And they kind of shortened up the backside on that one.
Just to mention, it does say that you must validate that you're adhering to Veeam's best practices, including having 3 geo-distributed backups. I don't know. How important is that, Adam? The Veeam best practices, is that pretty standard? Is that a little unique that people have to be aware of what goes into that?
Well, yeah. So that's their 3-2-1 strategy. That's you have your local backup, your offsite, your secondary backup, and then your offsite backup. Okay. So that multiple geographies. If a train derails in your geography and no one seems to do anything about it for a couple of weeks, and you don't have access to your environment, not that would ever happen in the United States.
Sure, in some hypothetical random state.
Yeah, some hypothetical Netflix video or something. But if that happens, you have some type of natural disaster or man-made disaster, and you can't have access to that geography. Being able to access that data, access those files, access that information in a different geography is critical.
Nice. If you want to read the article, channelfeatures.com, link is in the description. On to selling cybersecurity. Adam, listen, if you want to know how to sell cybersecurity, these are 5 ways to get to a yes. Many SMBs are still unaware that they need to secure their infrastructure from threat actors, making it difficult for MSPs to convince them to buy security services. So this article on channelE2E.com, Adam, I'd love to kind of dive in with you with the statistics, what you think with their number 1 through 5. Let's just start. Number 1, disorient and orientate your prospects. What do you think about this? They got some interesting stats in here. 57% of SMBs believe they won't fall victim to an attack. At the same time, nearly 20% reported an attack in the previous year because their attitude towards cybersecurity. So I'm going to stop talking, Adam, so you can start talking.
This is a sales tactic, right? So I've never had too much success convincing anyone of anything, but this does kind of speak to the idea of, educating your clients with what others in their field are dealing with, right? So I'm not sure about disorienting your prospects, but
yeah, okay. I didn't like that word. I didn't like that term. It seemed very negative, like, shake them up. They don't know up from down, and then sell them something.
Yeah, the fear, I mean, everyone's kind of touted the fear, and there's lots of stats out there, and the FBI and multi-trillion-dollar business and all this kind of stuff, but we still hear from people all the time, yeah, I'm not big enough for people to come after me. If they really wanted to get after my environment, they'd get through no matter what I did. You hear all these excuses all the time, and it's really just kind of a head in the sand. I don't want to focus on the discipline of maintaining, active cybersecurity policy. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. That's one of the things I think this article is kind of trying to convince people to buy stuff. I don't think a lot of what people already have is very, very capable. I think it's mainly maintaining and keeping those systems up to date, keeping your patches up, keeping your most recent updates up. People update software because there's a vulnerability. So I know it's annoying. I know Patch Tuesdays break stuff. I know all this stuff happens and it's a pain in the ass, but people patch software because it fixes vulnerabilities. So I think giving people examples of, hey, this is what happened to an organization. Here's an example of what happened to like your competitor. Here's an example of, that type of a stuff. People tend to buy, homeowners insurance and security products when their neighbor gets broken into. So raising awareness of, hey, this is what could happen, and here's some simple areas where an MSP service can help you maintain operations is a good way to do it. So I don't think you disorient them. I just think you try to raise awareness. We do that. Quest does that through workshops. We do that through assessments, and we do that through our cybersecurity checkups, right? Those are some ways that we help partners and we help clients. Hey, don't freak them out. Don't go in there and tell them they're all going to die. Like, that's not cool. Like, I know some people love to do we actually got, we totally blew a speaking engagement where a partner wanted us to come in and do the high volume, hey, you're all going to die kind of speech. And we approached it much more like, hey, here's some examples and here's some good common sense things you can do. It did not go over well. I don't think we're getting invited back this year, but it's okay. Different strokes, different folks. We kind of like to try to raise awareness, and then when people are ready to take positive action, you can be there to help them.
When they reached out to us, were they clear, like, hey, put the fear of God in the audience? Or did you just kind of get the impression afterwards, like, oh, they wanted the fear of God, and we just went for like, hey, here are some considerations?
Well, it's just culture, right? So like you get in the channel and there's so this article is one way to sell, right? And we got invited. This is a partner we worked with. We've done like 10 IRs with them. We've helped their clients out of the gutter. We always give the, people in deep trouble, people with a sucking chest wound don't necessarily care what kind of saline solution you're pumping into their veins. They just want you to keep you alive, right? So in these IRs, we've executed really, really well, but our sales style is not the fear of God. It's not, hey, everything, we're end of days, you better buy this widget because it's going to save you. Mm-hmm. We just don't sell that way. We have a very high intensity execution focus when stuff goes wrong, but we're also relatively mellow compared to this partner who invited us to their event when it comes to like getting attention for making these investments. So maybe something we can improve on a little bit, looking back at it, like maybe we could have like jazzed up the talk a little bit more, but yeah, it did not hit the mark.
So we're that doctor who says, hey buddy, maybe you want to lose a couple pounds, whereas they want you just handing the person the brochure of all the funeral arrangements and being like, well, you're going to die.
Yeah. That could be an analogy.
Not my strongest analogy. I'll probably cut that out in post, or I'll put one in that's even better.
Cool. Yeah.
A few more ways of getting to a yes. Number 3, look secure and be secure. This includes innovation, success stories, and reputable SaaS security. Adam, what do you think about this one?
If you've been breached or if you have had, some cybersecurity issues of your own, you have a reputation, you have some analysis out there, that's not a good look. You got to keep your ship wired tight yourself. And then also, people like to buy from people, and they also like to know they're not the first person guinea pig. Everyone's kind of seen that standard deviation chart, the statistical chart of you got the people at the bleeding edge. Well, the majority of the people out there aren't at the bleeding edge. So they want to know, have you done this before? Tell me about the process. Like, what can we expect? Like, what's the onboarding? We just brought on a 100 user group with 200 endpoints last week, and we were working with it was through a partner, and we were working with a non-technical buyer. It was the VP of finance, a gentleman who was new to the organization and realized, hey, we don't quite have this figured out. I need to bring in some experts to help. And he was very interested in, how have you done this before? Can you walk me through the process? How, what can we expect? How much are my users going to be impacted? We were doing like an MDR, a SIM, and a hosted firewall, and a couple other things for them. Just walk them through, like, hey, here's how we've done this before. Here's an example. Here's another organization you can talk to. You got to kind of show them, because they are trusting you with some pretty important aspects of their technology.
I think this is very similar to Aladdin and Jasmine in the blockbuster Disney film Aladdin. You are showing the Jasmines of the world a whole new world of cybersecurity. Adam, you know this world. You're living in that cybersecurity world, but you're welcoming this company and you're trying to show them all the things that cybersecurity has to offer. And sure is this company like Jasmine a little hesitant to get onto a magic carpet? Absolutely. But it's transformative.
So in this analogy, I'm a thief who's acting fraudulently, trying to seduce a princess and take someone on a ride.
Okay, so I'm 0
That's
for
what you're
2.
trying.
I'm 0
Okay,
for
yeah,
2 in metaphors today. Caffeine doesn't make you a better metaphor creator. That's fact.
yeah. No, it is different. It is new. Not quite sure about the Aladdin reference, but I'll roll with it. Yeah, it is different for them, and they really want to know, hey, how are you going to do it? You got to kind of establish, hey, we've been here before. We can help you with this process, and kind of walk them down the path and make sure everyone's on the same page as regards to roles and responsibilities.
I'm trying to say you have a heart of gold, Adam. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, diamond in the rough. Diamond in the rough.
There you go.
If you start doing Beauty and the Beast analogies on the next one, we're gonna call this one for
Okay.
sure.
All right. So number 5, offer free cybersecurity training and assessments, penetration tests. How do you feel about those, offering those for free? Are they helpful? Used too often? What do you think?
No, I think they're great if they give good feedback, and you kind of establish that partnership idea with the client. Like, hey, we're gonna love to show you what we can do, love to demonstrate some expertise here, and kind of work with them to show them, hey, these are some courses of action you can take to improve things. We've been doing assessments 15 years, right? That's a table stakes engagement. You got to do some assessments, you got to do some initial penetration tests or vulnerability scans, reputational analysis, just help them understand where they are. That's tabletop discussions. If they're technical, if they're non-technical, that's also really important, right? So one of the things we do on our penetration tests, our reputational analysis, and I think that's really critical, is you got to have an executive summary. You can't just send them the 35-page or 60-page Nessus report with all the speeds and feeds and all that stuff. You got to put it into human language on the front end and say, okay, here's your highest probability vulnerability, here's your most catastrophic, here's your combination of the two. What's most likely to happen based on the market, and what's the most catastrophic risk you have if it happens. And then you stack rank those and you say, hey, you got to make a decision about how you want to protect your business, and you map them out and you let them know.
Interesting statistic in the piece was at Acronis in 2022, a report showed that 30.6% of all received emails were spam and 1.6% contained malware or phishing links. I just thought that was interesting. So if you go on Jeopardy, now you can answer that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we put together a cyber defense suite based on where we see people get hit from incident response. So we've got an incident response team helping people get out of trouble and rebuild. And there's always a point of entry, and more often than not, it's an email. It's something that gets through. So having that email protection and email security and malware defense and all that kind of good stuff, very, very important. Kind of that's where people can gain access to your environment.
So again, Channel E to E, a link is in the description if you want to read it. And finally, Adam, you circled this Channel Company article. Here's the 10 cybersecurity CEOs and what they are prioritizing in 2023. This is a lot of content. 10 CEOs all having different thoughts on where cybersecurity is going and what they're prioritizing. And then I realized a theme. I would say 6, 7 out of the 10 said what they're prioritizing is the relationship with partners. Really interesting that the majority of people are really turning to partners to grow their business.
Well, someone has to take the technology, right? So, I mean, you have things like CrowdStrike, you got guys like Barracuda, you got, all sorts of Sentinel-1, all sorts of different manufacturers, OEMs, and those types of folks, the actual software people. How do you translate that to the market, right? You can hire a bunch of sales reps and you can blast the market with spam, and you can put out a bunch of content, you can sponsor Formula One race cars and buy Super Bowl ads. But at the end of the day, the people moving the needle for selling software and actually implementing software is the channel. So I think it is a great theme you picked up on in this, is the idea of prioritizing the channel. They have the brands, right? Everyone knows who CrowdStrike is. A lot of people know who Sentinel-1 is. A lot of people know who Cisco is. A lot of people know who Fortinet and Palo Alto. But who's actually helping to implement this technology and tie it together with everything else that's important to that customer?
Mm-hmm.
That one rep at that company cannot know what's important to his 200 assigned accounts. He just can't. He has to understand how to move his product, but he's got to rely a lot on his partners and his integrators to get that product implemented, get the life cycle going, get people consuming it. So I think they're going to rely more and more on partners. We actually just saw, I'm not sure if it's public or if it was just in the channel, so I won't mention any names, but large cloud type company organization just laid off a bunch of account reps and people that were dedicated to the middle market for providing a specific platform. And I think that just goes to show that partners and the channel and people who actually help that with that adoption of those services, the major manufacturers, the OEMs, are relying more and more heavily on those people in the channel to help implement changes, help implement integration. It's across the board. I don't think it's just, this is definitely CEOs in the security space, but I think a lot of the technology firms are kind of battening down the hatches, cutting headcount, and going to be relying on the channel to help with integration.
That's interesting. Good stuff. Adam, we come to that favorite part of the show where people want to know, Adam, what's happening in your life this week? So Adam, what's happening in your life this week?
Well, Paul, super excited. Today, actually coming up just this afternoon, we're having our partner forum. So every quarter we send out an invite to all of our partners to hop on and meet with myself, Gary. We brought on a couple new strategic national channel managers, long tenured people who've experienced the channel, are helping us grow our program, helping us support partners. So we're introducing them on that today, and also going through some new programs that we have that we're rolling out for the channel. That's always fun. I love doing the partner forum. It's an open dialogue with our partners. They can give us candid feedback, and we have good discussions about things that are rolling out. So that's coming up this week. And then, I don't know, we got March Madness kicking off pretty soon, a couple weeks out. Got the doldrums here after the football season ended. So Super Bowl ended, kind of ready for the next wave of sports to kick off here in March. But yeah, that's about it, Paul.
Well, you got USFL, you got XFL coming up. So, maybe there's always that if you're desperate. So everybody, thank you for joining us today for the Incident Report. We're really glad you're here. And Adam, thank you for sharing your insights. Always appreciated.
Thanks, Paul. And if anyone's got any comments or feedback, we're going to be bringing on a few more guests here coming up. So if anyone wants to join us on episode of the Incident Report, always good to have recommendations. Thanks.
Have a good day. Thanks so much for listening. The Incident Report is brought to you by Quest Technology Management. With over 40 years of experience, Quest is a leading technology integrator working seamlessly with your staff and systems to achieve your IT goals. Learn more about everything they do at questsys.com. And if you have questions or suggestions for the podcast, you can always email Adam and myself at theincidentreport@questsys.com. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.